790 WNIS. You like animals and creatures, and, man has dominion over the animals, and I think that certainly, as time goes on, we will find ways not to inflict pain on anything that feels it in any way, shape, or form. We create the world we live in, and I think that one of the ways you can express that you are a gentleman or a lady is to show kindness to the things that least require it, like the ones that you can get away with not showing kindness to them, whether it be people or animals. I think as much as possible you go out of your way to try to preserve life and keep things from having to suffer, right? Now, with that in mind, I get an email, and I really don't, as is so often the case, I don't really know too much about this other than what I've read here. And I heard from an email from a lady who knew me and one of my sons, and was interacted through some people who knew me and one of my sons, and about the plight of the eagles. That's right. Now, you might have seen something about it on WVEC. You might have read about it in the Virginian Pilot. But let's get the story right now from one of the principals, Carol Senechal, co-founder of Eagle On Alliance. Good morning, Carol. How are you today?
Good morning, Tony.
I'd like to thank you for coming on. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
You were closer than most. It's Senechal.
That's exactly what I said, Senechal. Thank you very much. Now, Carol, for those who don't know, I want you to take some time and set it all up for us. What is the story? What are we talking about here this morning? Go ahead.
Well, the city of Norfolk applied for and received a permit last year and then again this year to try and rid Norfolk Botanical Gardens of two bald eagles that have lived there for 10 years. And they say that they are a danger to nearby Norfolk International Airport. Mm-hmm. But the records show, of course, that as long as FAA has kept records on wildlife strikes at airports, only 4 bald eagles have been struck at Norfolk International, and only one of them had any connection to the garden. So what we're trying to do is to bring the public aware of the plight of these eagles. Right now, they're tearing down their nests. They've been doing this since October 4th of last year. And last week, just this past Tuesday, they tore down nest number 8. And these poor eagles are just trying to build and raise a family. I have to say that on April 26th of 2011, the original female of this pair was struck by an airplane at the airport while she was sitting at the end of the runway eating a fish. Mm-hmm. Now, the pilot of the plane reported seeing eagles, but no one from the airport came out to disperse them, to shoo them away, and the plane landed on her, and she was killed. But the male who still resides at the garden found a new mate, and they've been trying to nest at the garden now since for the last 2 years, and the USDA comes in and rips their nests down, and we're tired of it. We have been fighting the city, we've been fighting Fish and Wildlife, we've been fighting the USDA Wildlife Services, we've been fighting the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries.
Now, Carol, is there any way that they can, I guess, and I don't know, is there any way they could move them? They can't relocate the eagles, create another habitat for them, or is that something that is impossible?
Well, it's not impossible. They could bag them up and move them to West Virginia, but bald eagles are so territorial. Mm-hmm. They will be back by, they'll be back by Monday. Mm-hmm. They know what their territory is, and they're very, very connected to it. As I said, you can take them off and take them out to Pennsylvania. They'll be back on Monday.
Mm-hmm. So I see where one of your experts here says the Alliance has criticized the airport for not doing more near its runway. The group's eagle expert, Peter Nye, a wildlife biologist in New York, said having the 2 eagles in the garden discourages other eagles from settling into that area. So you guys have been unable to convince them or make that case?
No, and the interesting part, I'm glad you asked that question, the interesting part of that are that the people that the city is relying on to give them advice agrees with that. Mm-hmm. In statements. Both the Fish and Wildlife and DGIF have said, you're right, has anybody given thought to what will happen if these 2 bald eagles leave? More bald eagles will come in. And Peter Nye said that these 2 eagles actually do probably a better wildlife mitigation for the airport area than the airport does by keeping large birds away.
So destroying the nests is futile because they're going to come back and build them anew.
They're building. As I said, they tore a nest down last Tuesday.
Now help me with this. I thought that, when I read this and I first heard of it, I was surprised, and excuse my ignorance, please, but I thought that there were federal protections that this would not be happening at all for eagles.
The Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act is still in effect. Unfortunately, very fortunately, eagles have made a huge comeback since DDT, just about wiped them out. So they are no longer threatened in the state of Virginia or nationally. So they are, they're pretty much fair game, except the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act requires a permit for anything you want to do. I mean, you can kill an eagle, but you just need a permit to do it.
Mm-hmm. So now, the city, obviously, they want to err on the side of safety. They're afraid that something could happen. Has there been a case where there have been people killed because of an interaction between a flying craft and an eagle?
No, never.
Okay.
I mean, eagles are very large birds.
So do they fear that there's going to be a lot? Do they fear that there's going to be a lot more eagles than there are now? Is that what they fear?
Well, the city can't control that. The only people who can control the safety of the flying public at Norfolk International is Norfolk International. Mm-hmm. They do so little to keep those runways safe. Their budget is minuscule compared to budgets of other airports across the country. We have received so much documentation under open records law. We have hired a wildlife attorney in D.C. to protect the two bald eagles at Norfolk Botanical Garden. And under her, we just made great strides, but the information that we have received has just been eye-opening. There was an article in the paper last week about the eagles and in the pilot, mm-hmm. and the airport was bragging about spending $51,000 or $52,000 on wildlife mitigation, keeping the runway safe. Mm-hmm. And $51,000 is nothing compared to Denver spends $379,000. Oklahoma City spends $158,000. Fort Lauderdale spends $114,000. Snohomish County Airport in Washington spends $117,000.
Now, who decides? Now, where will that money come from? Who will be the final arbiter as to whether or not that money is spent for this?
The airport itself.
The airport itself
sets its own budget, and at the airport, from documents we've received, there is no one person assigned full-time to wildlife mitigation at the airport. It's a collateral duty. Now, the person who is in charge is the airport fire chief, but there is not one single person at the airport whose sole duty it is to keep the runways safe. And quite frankly, between you and me, the airport needs to concentrate on its own territory, its own land. I have never seen a plane land at Norfolk Botanical Garden. No.
I appreciate your point. Now, if there are like-minded individuals, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who would like to find out more about this website, and let me ask you one thing I wanted to ask you, I forgot. So you've attempted to come up with money and give it to the airport to rectify this problem?
Oh, my, no. No. We are trying to educate the public, and that's why I'm so glad you're having us on today. We're trying to let people know, and we want to talk to the city of Norfolk. We want Norfolk, who applied for and received 2 permits in a row, to listen to our side, and we can't get in the door. We, a group of Eagle on Alliance supporters went to a city council meeting on November 26th, and came from far away, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, all over the place. And Mayor Frame told all the people who didn't live in Norfolk to go home. He didn't want to hear it. So we're trying. The city will not sit down with us. They just wave their hand and blow us off. And but we would like to get the word out to Hampton Roads, what's going on here, to the city of Norfolk, to all the cities, what's going on here, and help us out just by trying to help us get the word out.
Very good.
Especially to the city.
All right. Well, go ahead and give out phone numbers and websites and information. Carol, take it away. Okay.
Our website is www.eagleonalliance.org. We operate, it's amazing, totally through Facebook. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Our Norfolk Botanical Garden Eagle Alliance is our public Facebook page. All the information is there as well. You can call me at 757-619-4343. And our email address for more information is norfolkeagles@aol.com.
Carol, what an interesting story this is, and I thank you so much and the other young lady who contacted me for making me aware of this. If you would, if there's anything more or something that I need to know about, keep me posted, would you please?
I certainly will. Thank you so much for having me on today, Tony. I appreciate it so much. We all do. And the Eagles do, too.
A great pleasure. I enjoyed hearing from you. Thank you very much. You have a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Same to you. Take care.
Bye-bye. AM790 WNIS. Isn't that interesting? All right, I think, we have dominion over the animals. What can be worked out? I understand the city has safety concerns, but these people want to say, I thought you had a great line there. The planes don't land at Botanical Gardens. The airport has got to clean themselves up, and what do they do in other places? And I guess if they raise the price and they got to do something with how they're going to pass it on to the consumer, and you get all kinds of problems there. But in the end, the Eagles really can't protect themselves, so it's something that we got to do in it. So this is a problem that's going to have to be solved by human beings on the behalf of the Eagles, if they're going to come. Maybe we should move the airport. Can't they take planes off of the ships? I guess them big 747s, you can't take them off a ship, huh? Some big landing platforms out there. Do something with that ghost fleet. Get some big plywood boards on there and just move it down. No? 744 AM790 WNIS.